Welcome to Native Yoga Toddcast. So happy you are here. My goal with this channel is to bring inspirational speakers to the mic in the field of yoga, massage, bodywork, and beyond. Follow us at Native Yoga and check us out at nativeyogacenter.com. All right, let's begin. Hello, welcome to Native Yoga Toddcast. My name is Todd McLaughlin. Thank you so much for joining here. My special guest is Jessica Rigal. I had the pleasure of meeting Jessica when she came to practice an Ashtanga yoga workshop with Tim Feldman here at our studio in Juno Beach, and then we've just been following each other on Instagram and having a lot of fun going back and forth with sharing ideas. And so that's how the catalyst evolved for me to invite her to come onto the show. And here she shares some of her passion, insights about growing up in New York City back in the 60s and 70s, getting exposed to meditation at a very young age, taking up Ashtanga yoga later on in life, her professional life, working as a counselor, and a few other ideas. I hope that you enjoy. Remember, if you like this episode, share it with a friend. Go on our social media stuff, hit a like and a subscribe and all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. Write us an email. We'd love to hear from you, and do the same to Jessica. And we're just so glad that you're here to celebrate yoga with us. All right, let's begin. I'm really excited to have this opportunity to sit and speak with Jessica Rigal. And Jessica, I have had the pleasure of meeting you in person before because you've practiced Ashtanga yoga here with us at Native Yoga Center, but I feel like this is my first chance to really get to know you and have a longer conversation. To get started, can you tell me how your day has been so far?
Well, it's been joyous, and I feel even more connected. That I don't often get a chance to sit down and talk about my passion. So thank you for the opportunity. And we've had the opportunity, like you said, to meet, but we really haven't had a chance to chat.
I agree. And I enjoy everything that you offer on Instagram, and your handles, your name at Jessica Rigal. Can you share a little bit about your history with yoga? From what I understand, you do have a varied background or quite a bit of background in the world of meditation. Can you talk a little bit about where you were in your life when you came across this concept of meditation, and what your first experience with meditation was?
Yeah. Well, there wasn't like a single moment in time. Growing up in the 60s and 70s in New York City, there was always this social consciousness. I mean, I think it definitely started in my home, um, Cesar Chavez, the Black Panthers, Gloria Steinem, presidential candidates. That wasn't some ideal in my life. They were actually in my living room. My mother was a New York intellectual, socialite, and it really started there. So I had that activism. And then my father, more on the quiet side, was a pharmacist, interested and curious about mental health and non-pharmacological interventions. So that's where I'd say the social consciousness, the awakening, and then the meditation, because I was his little test dummy. I was like 9 years old, quite frankly. I was 9 years old. And guess who got to do the informal studies? Me.
You were your dad's guinea pig in relation
I
to
was.
understanding non-pharmacological ways to help mental health. Am I getting that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Actually, he was contracted with like Bellevue and Pilgrim State. They were specifically looking to help people suffering from schizophrenia at the time. So meditation was really in the forefront. And so every night he would have me meditate. And I just was so excited to have daddy's attention. So that's where it kind of started. And then it went into my teens, of course, 60s, 70s, up in Woodstock, the Zen meditation monasteries. What was it? It was Mount Tremper, Mount Tremper. So I would do like weekend and week-long retreats there. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, at 9 years old, I'm wondering if this is in the 1960s that your dad was kind of saying, Jessica, let me have you try this particular practice. I know that TM was quite big in the 60s. What sort of meditation background had your dad come in contact with in that time period in American history?
It's so interesting because I don't think it wasn't TM. We like didn't really label it. I'm thinking it was the shikantaza, like just sitting, like just returning. If Jessica, if you feel something, try not to move, just return. There wasn't really an anchor, a mantra or a breath. It was just sitting. And I feel like that term comes full circle, right, in yoga now. Um, so I don't know really what type of meditation. Vipassana, would we say Vipassana?
Uh-huh. Cool. Amazing. I saw that you posted on Instagram the other day, you had taken a video of a manatee. And if I remember correctly, you were pointing to this. I think you were just the manatee wasn't really swimming anywhere and you called it a manatee meditation. I was like, is she recognizing that maybe the manatee is in a state of meditation, or is she in a state of meditation watching the manatee? Can you help me clarify what was going or is going through your mind in relation
Yeah.
to your watching nature and how that inspires your ability to just be present?
Yeah, definitely that now we know, modern neuroscience has just caught up that awe, that sense of awe, brings us back into the moment. So it's just about the moment. And, metaphysically speaking, who knows? Maybe there was something there with the manatee. It's definitely being in the moment with whatever is and acknowledging that nothing needs to happen. It doesn't have to become anything. It's just perfect in the moment, you know.
Nice.
And we're so blessed here. I live in Florida, and we're so blessed with dolphins and manatees and all kinds of bird species to help us. And I recommend to my patients often, or to students when they say they can't get out of their head, and you hear that a lot, right? Go take a walk in nature. Hmm.
Yeah, great point. Have you come across that app called the Merlin app where while you're walking outdoors, if you open it up and you turn on the microphone, whatever bird is in the area, it'll pick it up and tell you exactly what bird is singing the song?
Oh no, but I know that's available. That sounds lovely. I'll make note of
It
that.
is really cool. I've been doing it in the morning, and like right when I came out my front door this morning to walk the dog, I heard a bird and I'm like, okay, now's my chance. And it was a cardinal. And I could have never have told you what actual bird is singing. You know what I mean? So I'm having so much fun in the morning now, turning my dog walk exercise into like, I'm trying to memorize the bird sounds. It's really, I agree with you. We're very lucky.
And that's meditation. And then it opens you up to that spaciousness of, okay, and now what? And
Yeah,
oh, I look up and there he is, right? There's the cardinal,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
that's another new moment,
Yes,
right?
yes. Can you talk a little bit about what your professional life is in relation to you saying when I work with my clients? What do you do professionally?
So after the meditation, I was always interested in medicine, obviously. My father was a pharmacist and I studied pre-med and journalism. So after college, I went into medical publishing. I did my advanced degree at the New School of Social Research. That was an interesting time in the city, wellness and body mind. Again, Herbert Benson was a big mentor of mine, a Harvard cardiologist who wrote the relaxation response. Are you familiar with the relaxation response?
I'm not. Can you explain it?
Yeah, it's a book, The Relaxation Response, and it's really a mover and a shaker to the mind-body mindfulness industry. He was a cardiologist, so he was more interested in physiology. Today, it seems more like psychoneurology, but it was more about relaxing your heart rate, relaxing your respiration rate, lowering your own, that you have control of your own systems, right? Of
Yes.
course, now we call it vagal nerve, response, but he's in the forefront. I do recommend that you read his book. It's amazing.
That's you said Benson, and the title again is?
The relaxation
Thank
response.
you. I'll write it down.
And so I was always interested in that wellness industry, worked in medical publishing for most of my life, did my degree, and then 9/11 happened, and I live in this city. I was also an EMT, emergency medical technician in the city, trained by the fire department. And
Were you doing that during
yeah,
9/11?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And that just kind of changed everything for me. So I went back for my second master's and I became a therapist because I decided, I don't want to sit behind a desk anymore and do the medical editing, the publishing piece, which I love, but I want to work with people. So I became a clinical social worker
Got it.
in
Amazing.
hospital, in
Okay.
hospital.
Okay. In hospital, meaning you're working in the hospital.
Yes, I work in the hospital for the last, over 20 years. In
So,
trauma, mostly in NICU.
got it. Got it. Well, how long then do you get to work with a particular client? Is it like if they're admitted into the hospital, you might only be able to talk with them over like one or two or three sessions while they're admitted? Or is it something that you maintain an ongoing relationship with them post their hospitalization?
Yeah, that's a great question, Todd. Thank you. Because you're right. That's what it seems like today. Of course, the economies of healthcare have changed and length of stay has shortened. Yet in trauma, someone might have a spinal cord injury or a traumatic brain injury or have a drug-addicted baby. So baby is in the hospital for a long time. A premature baby might be for months,
Wow.
right? My
Yeah.
smallest baby was 490 grams, almost in the hospital a year.
Wow.
So it depends. It depends.
Got it.
Nowadays, the turnaround is very fast, but you're right. It is now more solution focused, kind of discharge kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Good question.
What are some of the big challenges you're facing currently working in the medical arena?
You know,
Are you allowed to,
I
are you allowed to talk about that? I don't know. You're like, wait, I have a job. I got to be careful what I say here.
No, you know
No.
why? Because I feel like I've always been the lone wolf. Like there's one of me, right? Like you have to call psychiatry, it's like call psych. And so this adversarial role never really existed for me. I was always still doing my breath work, my childbirth education, my meditation with patients, hypnosis for pain, so my role, obviously, if they're giving me 63 patients, I'm not going to see them all.
Yeah. Got it.
That's where it becomes a problem. You know, it's just they know that Jessica's gonna, I look like I Love Lucy, that where she's trying to eat on the conveyor belt all the time.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
They know that if a traditional nurse case manager might see 30 patients, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I'll do my best, but I can't.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense. What's one of the most challenging situations you've come across working your profession with a situation that you came across in the hospital? Without
Yeah,
naming any names and harming anyone's identity, I'm just curious what type
yeah.
of challenges are you up against? I'm just so curious what you would see in that setting.
Yeah, there are many challenges. Moving from New York to Florida, initially there were challenges in the cultural competency of the staff. was not trauma informed. There was in the population, there was still noticeable, like very interesting, what I call post-slavery syndrome here in Florida. Um, Definitely that was a challenge, some prejudice and all the isms, you know,
Understood.
where I mean, it existed in New York, but that was definitely a challenge here when I first moved to Florida.
Yep.
Uh, yeah.
Understood. Well, I'm glad that our Florida system has someone like you that cares so much. Yeah, obviously, you have to really care about the people that you work with. What do you think when you look at your community? What are ways that you find that you can extend greater levels of care to help improve our community?
Yeah, you meet people where they're at because perhaps they didn't grow up with 153 different languages spoken on their block as I did. Perhaps they've never met someone from Ethiopia, or they've never met someone from Yemen, or they don't understand child trafficking from those areas, Iran or someplace. So you just meet people where they're at, and there's a lot more education regarding trauma-informed care and cultural competency. So you educate and you just meet people where they're at, because I think in general, people want to do the right thing. They just may not know. And what is it in yoga, right? We say the word ignorance, but yet then when we use that term outside, it's people find it offensive, but it isn't. It
Yeah,
isn't offensive.
yeah,
It just is maybe you were ignoring certain other aspects of life. Because I have a fabulous relationship with all the staff, and they're very intelligent, and I love my work here and, in hospitals here.
nice. You practice Ashtanga yoga. You had relayed a story to me in the past, practicing with Manju. Can you share any stories uh, that you remember in your time practicing with Manju Joyce that helped inspire you to want to continue to practice Ashtanga yoga?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, because that speaks to my heart. Because I've had all this background in meditation and in, psychology. I was not a yogi per se. I never had an asana practice, Todd. So I don't know if you know Margarita.
I
Yeah.
do know Margarita. She used to come here quite a bit when she first had One Yoga Planet when she opened up there, and one of my I know we're supposed to live a life of no regrets, but one of my regrets is that I never practiced with Manju when she hosted him at her studio there. There were so many times she would come here and say, "Hey Todd, Manju's going to be at my studio," and for whatever reason, it just didn't happen. But I do know Margarita.
Yeah. It's right here in town. So I just went over to her and I said, "Hi, my name's Jessica. Would you like to start a meditation program?" She said, "No, but would you like to take the teacher training?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
that sounds like
I'm like,
classic Margarita. Yeah.
no, but I'm 55 years old. I mean, I can't touch my toes. When I do meditation, by the way, I sit on a bench, a meditation bench. All my life, it was a bench. Well, that's okay. You can still take the training. I said, all right. So I took the training, and within like a month, I don't know if I shared that story. Within like a month, Manju came, and I meet Manju, and well, first off, she asked me as part of a trainee, "Can you get the studio ready?" I don't know what I'm doing. "Can you put on music?" So when
Yeah.
Manju walks in, he's like, "What kind of music is this?"
Yeah.
Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I think I had Satnam Kaur on or something. So
Classic.
I start my practice, and Manju comes by, and he says, "Okay, you drop back now. Drop back." "Oh no, you don't understand. I'm new. I don't do that." "Okay, go." Just do, go. And actually, I did drop back, Todd.
Nice.
Um, I'm pretty tall, and I'm like 5'7". And when he brought me up, my eyes met his eyes, and it had just cracked me wide open.
Yes.
It just cracked
Yeah.
me wide open. And I had never in a million years imagined that I can do that. And I didn't realize that there was still so much from my son. I didn't mention my son was in trauma, a big accident, a motorcycle accident, 9/11, just everything. Like we're human beings. We all store trauma in the body, right? I just hadn't realized how important the asana practice was until I met Manju. And so, to answer your question more specifically, had I met another teacher, I don't believe that I would still be practicing
Mm.
because he made it so joyous, made it so accessible. It wasn't like, okay, do this, turn your foot this way, don't do that, do this. He didn't care. You want to, oh, my right knee was all jacked up. I couldn't sit on the floor. I mean, I was a typical maybe 55, 56-year-old who had never done any exercise. I grew up in New York City, concrete jungle, intellectual. Like I wasn't with you guys boating here in Florida.
Oh my
Right.
gosh. Yes, I get it. I get it. It is pretty exciting, isn't it though, when you face and confront fear like that and do something that you never thought you could possibly do and you have the loving guidance of an instructor to kind of press you a little bit and then to kind of come back up and go, "Oh my gosh, all in that moment, so much emotion hits." Isn't that is a spectacular moment in practice history.
Yeah. Yeah. The truth,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
truth
Yeah.
that I was living here, right? Yeah. I was living in my head, you know.
Yes. Well,
Even with all the meditation, even with, you know, so even though I can sit down and drop in, whatever that means, just drop in quickly, there was still quite a lot of cleaning out, the hatha yoga. And I think that's what he introduced me to, not really the vinyasa, because I was never a vinyasa girl. I didn't have the wind. And just the asana was so difficult for me and still is that and just breathe like this, he would go for me. So I would just sit there and do that. And little did I know, I was really opening up my rib cage, opening up my pranayama, opening up my lungs. That was enough for me. And he
yeah.
saw that.
Yeah. Incredible. When's your next plan to practice with Manju?
June.
When
June. Yeah.
will you
Yeah.
fly to Encinitas?
I'll fly to Encinitas, yeah. But I do practice with his wonderful, amazing, and if you haven't met him, I would highly recommend you talk to Greg Tebb. I practice with Greg Tebb every day online, Mysore.
Cool. I appreciate the lead. I will reach out to him. TEBB.
Correct. Mr.
Cool.
Tebb has been a student of Manju's for over 30 years, and his father. And they've written many books together, Manju and him, the definitive book on Ashtanga yoga. So he's my day-to-day teacher, Greg Tebb.
Very cool. Well, thank you for telling me about that.
Hmm.
How are you making amends with blending Ashtanga yoga and Zen meditation? Not that it needs to be like amend making or something that's so like monumental, but are you, because obviously you love both, have passion for both, feel the benefit of both. Do you see them as exactly one and the same? Do you feel like we need to honor each as its own specific tradition? Are you blending the two together? Are there any people saying, no, 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 in the Zen world, you should not be blending it with yoga? And are there people that you're finding in the Ashtanga world saying that Zen doesn't fit in? How do we put these two side by side and make sense of it all and utilize it in a real way?
Oh my God, I'm falling in love with you.
Yeah.
Such great questions because, that's the meat of it. Like everything is division, right? Don't you see that in the asana?
Yes.
Like, and with all due respect, when our, Shirachi died, should we keep our hands like this or should we do this?
Yes.
Should we
Yes.
do that? Should we do this?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
No, no, no. The jazz, right, my friend? The jazz, the spaciousness, the yoga, the zen, yoga's yoga, meditation, meditation. Hatha vinyasa. Yes, we can take a scholarly lens, just like the cardiologist may say to the neurologist and the pulmonologist, but we have a patient in front of us. They're not a system,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so everything needs to be integrated, and that's the Viveka Kyati. That's what I've discovered, right? This triangulation of a lived experience of the yoga, right? And then the awareness, the Viveka Kyati, right? That's the discrimination.
Can you define Vieka Kayati for us?
Yes, if for me, the V, like Vairagya, is a separation, yet it's a wholeness together, a separation yet wholeness, kind of like um,
That makes sense. I see what you're
it's a
saying.
wisdom, right?
Yeah.
It's a certain level of wisdom that is lived, right?
Yes.
That's lived, like when we're sitting in the jazz club, right? That we're in that space, between the notes.
Yes. Not knowing what's going to come next.
Yeah,
Improvised.
yeah,
Not scripted.
exactly. No performance, right? No care what comes next. That meditation, maybe he's gonna go away, the manatee. Maybe we'll get to see his little nose, no matter.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I really hope that you're enjoying this episode, and I just wanted to take a moment to announce a course that I'm really excited to release. It's a free course, and it's called 8 in 8 Learn 8 Limb Yoga in 8 Days. My goal is to help coach you along in the Ashtanga yoga practice in a way where we take just the sun salutations, the fundamental asanas, and the final breathing poses, break it down with some philosophy videos as well, explaining the 8 limbs of Ashtanga yoga in a very easy to use, friendly course that is totally free. Click the link below, check it out. Let me know what you think. All right, let's get back to the episode. Yeah, great point. Well, I enjoyed when I saw that manatee meditation. And when I read what you had written below, or below the picture or whatever, the video, in terms of sitting just to sit, not having a goal, not having a need to. I'm going to heal my trauma now. I'm going to sit. I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to heal and become a better person. This idea that I'm gonna do this meditation because it has a purpose, and I have a goal, and I'm hoping that this will help me achieve my goal. And I feel like from the Zen angle that you seem like you were presenting is no goal.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
we're gonna meditate with zero goal in mind, which is
yeah.
like,
Nirbija, right? Nirbija samadhi, exactly. Objectivelessness, right?
which seems hard to do, but can you explain why you feel that can really cut into the matter in a way that just is so unique?
It's just the return. It's the return. It's that lived experience of the return, right? Not waiting for something to happen, right? And I think that's what happens with the asana too, that people, they have a good intention. Okay, aging, we can't, right? One thing we can't escape. We can escape maybe prejudice, don't live in certain areas. I'm going to live here because these are more my people, whatever, or We might be able to escape sexism and other isms, but we can't escape ageism, right? So then you see these senior yogis, such as myself, oh, I can still do leg behind the head. I can still, you know, and yes, we're not hating on them. Good for you. That's great. We want the body to keep cleaning. Everybody's unique. Yet you, you know, you wonder, can you just less is more? Can you, and I think I learned this from Manju, that can you live in the shunya, the emptiness, that the asana becomes raja. The asana becomes raja, right? One pose, maybe Viparita Karani. James Mallison.
I know the name.
He wrote the all the big hatha yoga texts, now he's a scholar,
Yes,
you know.
I have heard of him.
Yeah, and he talks about that too, that what was I saying?
What are we saying? Just kidding.
What am I
Where
saying?
are we? I know.
What am I saying?
What point are you trying to make? I think you were my main question. What my question is around, I guess, an investigation of these different takes on how do I meditate and what is a meditation style that's going to suit me. And I guess I appreciate your emphasis on the Zen of this concept of no goal. Like I'm just sitting just to sit and be present and just feel what is feeling. So I think we're just kind of going around a little bit on that idea
Yeah,
and trying to figure
yeah.
out,
I'm sorry.
Okay,
It's just I get excited,
it's
and
good.
it's just
It's good.
I think it's the hatha yoga. My point with hatha yoga was that James Mallison does talk about, the body, and yet Manju says, it can be one posture. Oh, I know. He talked about karma yoga, karma yoga, and how the yogis would stay in supported shoulder stand, Viparita Karani. They would stay in it for like a week
Ooh,
to burn off their karma.
a week?
But not a week, but not only like what you just said, to be of service. You mentioned that just a moment ago, to be a better person. I heard you say to be a better
Yes.
person.
Yes.
He said that they did that to be a better person, to help the community, even burn off the karma of the community.
Wow.
One posture.
Ooh, is that our next workshop we offer, Jessica?
Yeah.
A 1 week shalaba, a 1 week Viparita Karani? I don't know if
How
I'm up for
about
that
one
challenge. How about
hour?
1 hour? Yeah. Have
Right?
you tried the 1 hour one? Have you tried the 1 hour one?
Uh, well, I stay in the asana for a long time.
So
I
you
do.
are into investigating, getting into something and holding it and
I
just
do, because
and
I do
challenge
very
yourself.
few postures,
Got it.
and then and so that's the meditation. That's the Ashtanga yoga, like Raja, kind of thing.
Can you explain then in your mind, in your own words, how could one do something like hold austerity, such as a pose, tapas, something for a period of time that's going to generate heat, and how could that benefit my community? I think I understand what you mean, but I just want to kind of parse that out a little bit in relation. Maybe someone listening is thinking, how could someone holding a shoulder stand in a room with nobody watching them have an effect on the local community? I believe in metaphysics. So you used the word metaphysics earlier in relation to maybe when you and the manatee, you were recognizing manatee, maybe manatee is feeling you, and maybe you both just sat there for a moment. We don't know, but it's fun to think about the potential. So I guess would love to hear your take on how does one person practicing austerity in a yoga pose benefit the community when there's no knowledge of the community knowing that you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Now we can get into our Jungian, right?
Oh, I
Collective
know it.
consciousness, right?
Well, I can't wait to hear
I
what you have to
know.
say. Yeah.
Right. Because obviously, in the shunya, is the punya, right? Is the virtue. In the shunya, in the emptiness is the virtue. So once we clean out our energy, everything is clean, right? Aren't we helping the world by not doing harm? You
Yes.
know?
Great point.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that's a fascinating aspect alone in the sense that when you're holding a yoga pose, and if we look at yama and niyama, that okay, ahimsa, I'm not harming anything. By holding a yoga pose, I'm not consuming any sort of product via my senses at all. Satya, truthfulness. Well, I'm not speaking, so it's really easy to be truthful if we don't talk. Do you agree?
mm,
Asteya, I'm not stealing anything. I mean, I'm breathing. Do you ever feel like by breathing, you're stealing air from someone else? I don't, but I mean, I guess one could argue potentially there is brahmacharya. We're not engaging in any sort of sexual conduct. Therefore, we got ourselves good there. And then aparigraha, greed. We're not being greedy. We're not taking from anyone when we're holding a yoga pose. So, like the nature of holding a pose in itself helps make it possible for us to get good at yama, and then we could go down the niyamas as well. Any me taught saying that? Does that bring up any thoughts for you?
yes, yes. Thank you for that. It was so beautifully said. Yes. What a great way to look at it, to clean out that first, limb, right? That first limb, because often people ask, how do I translate the theory into practice? Well, you just said it, that'd be a beautiful workshop.
All right. So we're
Yeah.
in shoulder stand, and now
Yeah.
we're yeah.
Yeah,
Well, cool.
or
I like the
you
idea, Jessica. I mean, because we
they
live.
get to pick,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I like the fact that we're able to collaborate or just brainstorm on some ideas here because we do live near each other. So in theory, we can actually put something together here. And then
Ah,
we have online too, so we can, generate
yeah.
some. Okay, another question, a little off topic, but you brought up jazz. I posted a picture of Miles Davis and I was reading the Critique of Pure Reason by Immanuel Kant, and you chimed in and said, "Oh man, now you're speaking my language." I saw Miles Davis live in New York, and I went, "No freaking way! You got to see Miles Davis live? I just can't even imagine to be in New York City and see." I just think Miles is like so unbelievable. Can you share a little bit about like when we experience something and we don't know it's going to be really cool later on, we're just doing it in the moment and it's just like not a big deal. But like now looking back on it, does it feel like it was a big deal or was it not really a big deal? Can you tell me a little bit about what your experience was like?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, let's go to some jazz. There's some good jazz around, right? Yeah, it didn't it seemed like just it's Friday night. Like, we're gonna smoke cigarettes, we're gonna drink, Johnny Walker Black, and we're gonna go into that smoke-filled room and just that's it. It's
Yes.
like it was just no, it didn't feel like a big, I mean, it felt like a big deal when you were there, but it wasn't like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
where I'm waiting in line for a ticket. Everything was so small and spontaneous and, in the moment. And when I think about it, like kind of life was like that. Like, oh, what are we going to make? Maybe because New York City has all the services right there, has the jazz clubs, has everything at your fingertips. Like, oh, what are we going to eat? Like, I don't know. Let's go. We walk. Oh, look at this fresh fish on the street. So, but it is kind of cool, isn't it, Todd?
Yeah.
Now when we
Yeah.
think back on
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
um, I think, and now we don't even have the ticket stubs anymore. Like
I know.
everything's electronic. Like, but yeah,
What
it
do you
it is
miss
cool.
that? Do you think we're missing something? Are we just in the equivalency of the same thing and it's all the same thing? Or have we gone downhill? Are we going uphill? I mean, what are you seeing?
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I'm seeing that what you and I are doing, uh, convo, uh, people matter less, more about, the outside world and stuff and accumulation. And the knowledge is is in wisdom,
Hmm.
being here is, in the moment with whatever you bring is what matters. So I definitely think we're losing our touch to what's available in the moment. Everything is so planned and calculated, I'm fine in this world. Uh,
Yeah.
so I even tell, my new mothers who are suffering financially or suffering emotionally, spiritually, mentally, uh, you know, there's a way. We live in this moment. This is a good moment, right?
Yes, it
Yes
is.
or no?
Yes, it
Yes or
is.
no?
Yes, it is. That's it.
You know, it's like that people say, I live in my head. So don't live in this moment. How do we live in this moment? Well, Pema Chodron, Pema Chodron,
Mm-hmm.
the Buddhist, she's a nun.
Via her books. I've never met her, but
Yeah.
via her books, yes.
Yeah, she teaches three R's, which I always teach my students and my patients. She says pause. Yeah, Pema, pause. And then she says reframe. So you pause, the thought comes in, you reframe, you relax, right? Um, I don't know what that is. Should I turn this
I
off?
don't know. Somehow you made this really cool thought bubble appear on the screen, and I'm like, how did she do that? That was magic. Did you do that on purpose, or did you put your finger up and then there was like a little circle appeared, like a
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
And
cool.
so
There's new
so it's that
tricks. There's new
pause.
yes, yeah. That's
Uh, so yeah, that's what I often say, just relax and reframe and refrain is the pause, of course.
mm,
So those are the three R's: refrain, reframe, and relax.
nice. It makes sense, right? Because we're reacting to everything so quickly. And so I know I heard a really good, this goes, I think, on same subject, kind of. I was listening to a business podcast just because I'm always trying to get new ideas to stay fresh. And it said, if you have a service and you charge for a specific service and someone then comes back to you right away with like, well, that's cost too much, that instead of then devaluing ourselves and saying, making excuses and kind of putting meaning on that they said that, to just pause and or ask, in relation to what? Like to ask another question, like that's expensive, but in relation to what? Like try to figure out what are they comparing you to? And if I believe truly in the value that I bring, you believe in the value you bring, then we could start to ask a question. But that pause there to not just take it on ourselves and feel that fire in our own body that comes up when we feel questioned or like we feel unworthy. And it just, I like that you're bringing attention to it as well right now, that it's okay to reframe, refrain, and pause for a moment or rest. I think that was the other R.
Yeah, exactly, my friend. Hallelujah. Because that's how the mother in Israel and the mother in the Palestine will sit down at the table because guess what? They both have the same needs. And my friend, so does your client who said she can't afford it. She may not have the same feelings, but she has the same needs that you and I, so we can relate. We
Yeah.
can relate because if you're a spirit in the body living on this planet, and we got a chance to see the beautiful planet with Artemis, right?
Yes, that was
Right.
pretty cool.
That was super cool. So if you're a spirit in the body living on this planet, we have the same needs. And there aren't that many. There's like five, right? There's like five of them. So
What's the
we
top?
can
What's the top one out of the five? What do you classify as the top need?
love and belonging.
Yeah, good answer. That's what I was hoping you were going to say. Yeah. What was a thought that went through your mind when you saw the picture from behind the moon of a little bit of Earth we're on the backside of the moon. We see the moon, and then way out there we see a little bit of Earth. What was a thought that popped in your head?
My inner child saw the loon man landing. I remember sitting with the tons of people in a little black and white TV watching the first step. My belief in humanity was my first thought. Yay for humanity.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, wow.
That's so
Oh,
cool.
oh,
That's awesome. I hear you. When I saw it, I thought, are we even really down there? Like, is this even real? Like, are we,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Because you look at it, so beautiful. And we're obviously so small. Like
yeah.
we're such like little tiny little somethings. And so like, is this even real? I don't know. I
Right.
just couldn't, I don't know. I just saw it and I thought, what if we're not even really down on that planet? We're somewhere else and they're just taking pictures. I'm
A
joking. I'm
Doppler.
joking. I'm joking. But it just really framed the perspective for me of how awesome the world
Mm,
is and how big a part I play and how small a part I play or we play in
yeah.
all
Well,
of
you
this.
play a big part, my friend.
Well, you're being
You
kind.
know,
I'm
a
glad. So have
studio
you.
owner
So,
and
I know.
you're a father, yes, and a studio owner and a podcaster, and you make the world a better place. And that's
Well, thank you,
huge.
Jessica. Well, that's really sweet of you. I guess when I say something like how small we are and or how unimportant we are, I don't say that to diminish the value that we can bring to the table, but more to almost bring value to the table, to almost like look at it from that angle of like, we are so tiny, we are so insignificant. Therefore, what are we going to do with the significance that we think we feel we have?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
What
Thank you.
what has your practice day looked like so far? Have you decided not to get on a yoga mat? Have you sat on your bench, your Zen bench? I know I get the feeling you're kind of in meditation right now, or I get the feeling that you're in that state of like where you're just like letting each moment be kind of a part of it all. Doesn't have to
Yeah.
be so formal, but if there was any formality, what did it look like today?
Yeah, Mr. Greg Tebb is very good with anatomy. And whether I'm in medicine or not, I'm not in my head, really. He brings me back to go in there because my MRI is pretty nasty looking.
Can you tell me what you see when we look at it?
The MRI,
Yeah.
you name it.
All right. Squashed discs in between your backbones.
Yes, go on.
Do you have arthritis?
What else?
Uh, Partial tears of the gluteus maximus. I don't know. Partial tears of something. Hamstring attachment.
Ruptured and herniated, right?
Yes, more ruptured and herniations, multiple discs.
Compression, spondylosis.
You do have some of that too. So your vertebrae have slipped one way or the other.
Hmm.
Okay, so how much pain are you in
Well,
each day?
I was in quite a bit of pain, yet, you know, Greg has taught me to go in there, and clean it out, no forcing, no forcing. So my practice is very mindful, very mindful. And just because, when I was able to do like Kordamasana and Bhuja Pidasana, but because of problems, like let's say my right foot would have to cross first or my left, and Manju and Greg would always say, "Don't worry about it. Just do it. Just do what you can." And so my practice is Ashtanga yoga sequence, but I do a lot of skipasana. I do a lot of skipasana, a lot of what we were talking about, staying longer, and I'm very careful now with lower back.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I am with you, Jessica. So, are you having thoughts when you're walking around outside and your back is really aching? Are you what type of ways are you mentally coping with it? Because pain is real. I mean, I think it is. It feels real when it's happening. Do you have are you struggling with the fear that comes with, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to me in 10 more years if I feel like this now? Are you being present and just feeling it? Are you, or D, all the above? How are you strategizing your pain management?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking that question. And not to, I digress a lot. Please forgive me. Not to digress, yet I mentioned that I have a son who was in an accident. So he's a paraplegic.
I didn't know
Uh,
that.
yes, he's a paraplegic. And so what comes to my mind often, if I come back into my mind and my body, is don't be a hypocrite. Don't be a hypocrite. If we say we're not mind body, then don't be mind body, right? You can't escape it, right?
Yes.
This
Yeah.
too shall pass. And Greg has helped me, not by saying, oh, do this, do this, do this. How does this feel? And clinically good doctors will do the same, Todd. That let's say, God forbid, you bring mama in and mama has Alzheimer's and they say, oh, look at this functional MRI. She has Alzheimer's. And you're like, Ma, how you doing? I want to get out of here. I got to get to the casino or whatever she says, right? You're like, I don't care what that MRI says. Clinically, my mom's okay, right? So not get caught up, like you said about the earth, like we're so small, not get caught up with labels, and time and shape and form. So I really bring myself back to that, Todd.
Yeah.
Not to be a hypocrite, but just to live in,
Beautiful.
you
Yes.
know,
Yeah. That's awesome. I hear you. I
it's
appreciate you.
hard because you hear a lot of people like my knee, my knee, my knee, my shoulder, my shoulder, my back, my back. Well, hello, every day is going to be another thing. Don't do so much asana, you know, live like like jazz, a
Yeah.
musical pranayama,
Yeah.
you know,
Musical fun.
just like just like just be in the pause in between the notes.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
let that get to you. Don't allow that to define you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I just so glad you said it because it's so true. I feel like that's one of the harder things to convey to folks when they are wanting some sort of validation, myself included, with pain, and therefore what you're bringing up, that it's real, it's going to continue. Let's just face it and be honest about it. I think that's really important. It's a little bit of an illusion to, I don't know, it's an interesting world to kind of like we're attempting to try to resolve pain, solve pain, fix pain. We're hoping the yoga is going to make all of our pain better. And in some ways it does. I wonder if it's more in the way that it changes our perspective about it than it actually literally makes pain go away because we just align the body in some magic way. So I
Yeah,
think we're both kind of saying the same thing. So I'm glad I'm talking with someone else who is kind of being real about it.
I love what you said, align the body in a magical way. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Uh-huh.
I hear you.
It's real. I'm not dismissing,
Yeah.
I'm not, because believe me, some of those sciatic issues, I'm like, please give me something. Um, but it passes,
Yeah.
and patience, right? How many yoga, this is all the same language, right? So what is practice then? What is practice? It's living. It's something we live, not something we do, right?
Well, that's a great question, Jessica. What is practice? What are we even doing when we're practicing?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I think that's the best answer. We got to take the Socratic answer there. The only thing I know is I really don't know anything. That's the
Exactly.
only thing I'm 100% sure of. I do not, I
Exactly.
don't know what I'm doing. But
I'll live in that shunya, I'll live in that spaciousness, you know.
I mean, I really like going here in conversation. I know like some folks will sometimes coach me and say, Todd, you're doing a podcast to encourage people. So therefore, if you just keep talking about how pain will just always probably be there and get used to it, that's not really helping people. But I don't think that's true. I think it is helpful to hear that we all are suffering on some level and that pain is real and it does pass. And every moment by moment, it's a unique experience and just to kind of feel it and see it. But do you ever feel that too, where someone might kind of pressure you, Jessica, to be a little more like, but I want the answer. I want you to tell me how I should feel or think or how to fix this problem.
Totally. Like
Totally.
toxic positivity around circle, you know. Don't
Yeah.
be Debbie Downer, like you
Yeah.
walk into a party, how are you? You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am who I am.
Yeah.
Like people are like, whoa, that's
Mwah,
weird.
mwah.
Ah, let me run to somebody who's more positive. Right. You know, not to get too existential, but
Yeah. Yeah.
totally you're right. You know, of course it's part and ultimately, right, Manju says that, you know, it's a dress rehearsal to death. You know, everything, every minute is a dress rehearsal. How are you going to feel that moment? Are you going to be friends with Lord Yama?
Mm.
You know, are you making friends with Lord Yama? You know, are you going to be clinging? No. What you're teaching, what you're doing by bringing it to the surface is helping them. So in that moment of death, they're prepared. They're not clinging.
Wow. Good point. A dress rehearsal for death. Everything is a dress rehearsal for death. Well, that's a pretty powerful statement,
Yeah.
don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a screensaver that says I'm gonna die. No.
Do you actually? You do. You
I
do.
do.
You don't want to admit it. You want to almost to not want to admit it there for a second, but now you're like, I got to own that one. Well, I think that's yeah. Well, I mean, any of us that have sat in any sort of Buddhist meditation has contemplated our death, don't you think? I mean, is there any way you could enter into any Buddhist meditation circle or Buddhist influenced meditation circle and not try to and have to be encouraged to be make peace with our end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no.
No. I know. I know. I know it's a tough pill to swallow sometimes, but it's like I think that's one of the best parts about Buddha teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know,
Yeah.
here we're this YOLO, you know, the Christian Judaic, you know, but you know, this idea,
YOLO.
YOLO, you know, you only live once, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So, well, of
Yes.
course, you know, the whole idea, even though they're very different and unique, you know, very different, yet that idea
Yes.
of cyclical existence is there.
Yeah. 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 Good point.
So,
Oh my,
yeah.
well, cool, Jessica. I'm so glad we had a chance to I can't wait till I see you again in person. We'll have a good laugh
I know.
and a good
I
hug.
know.
Yes.
I
Because
know.
now
I have so many questions for
now,
you.
well, now we have a little bit more to kind of build off of. So I'm really appreciative of you taking time out of your day. I know you're getting ready to travel and
Yes.
experience the world and I believe be with your daughter.
Yes,
That's
yes.
cool.
I'm taking some time off. We're going to Mallorca, just to
Wonderful.
enjoy. Just we don't have a plane ticket back.
Wow. Really? You bought a one-way ticket to Mallorca?
Yes.
Oh, well, that opens a doorway. Are you going to sell your
Yeah.
place before you go? Or are you going to keep your,
No, no,
if
no.
you decide to stay, I'll help you sell it or something. I mean, we'll figure something out. Well,
Exactly.
that's kind of cool. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you.
Nice. Nice. Oh my gosh. Everybody needs a little bit of exploration time. Well, I really do wish you a happy experience. I'll be watching you on Instagram to see what kind of adventures you come up with, see what kind of animals you meditate with, and
Thank you.
yeah, and to see you enjoy your family. You're right. Having the opportunity to be around family is pretty amazing. And I hope to
Yes,
meet your kids one day. Your son sounds
thank
incredible
you.
too.
And same with you. I'd like to meet your wife and hear more about your long history in the yogic world.
Well, thank you. We'll definitely do it. Well, once we get our Viparita Karani class going, we'll set the announcement and do part two.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Sounds good, Jessica. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much love.
Much love.
Bye now.
Native Yoga Toddcast is produced by myself. The theme music is dreamed up by Bryce Allen. If you like this show, let me know. If there's room for improvement, I want to hear that too. We are curious to know what you think and what you want more of, what I can improve. And if you have ideas for future guests or topics, please send us your thoughts to info@Native Yoga Center. You can find us at nativeyogacenter.com. And hey, if you did like this episode, share it with your friends, rate it and review, and join us next time.
Well, yeah, now.